Well, getting audio. Okay. Now, hello? Alright, looks like we're live. I think I finally got this whole thing figured out. I was trying to stream with my graphics card built in software, but I couldn't find a way to get it so that just my web camera would show up. I can get it so that the web camera is overlaid over the top of something else, but if I just wanted the web camera on screen, I couldn't get that to work. So I just downloaded a different streaming software, set it up. Shout out to No Copyright Music. Link in the description. Basically all the music I'm listening to has no copyrights, just to be safe. Not music that I would normally listen to, but sometimes it's nice to just kind of like hear some new stuff. So I don't know if you guys are into music. If you are, let me know what kind of music you guys like, because I like all kinds of music, but I tend to like get stuck in my own, listen to the same kind of music you listen to. They say that people's taste in music doesn't really change. Once you go through your adolescence, you grow up and become an adult, apparently your taste in music stays pretty similar to that, which is interesting to think about. I definitely feel like that's true. So we got a couple things we could do, just like hang out and talk and type, but I think that like having something to actually do is definitely better than just talking to yourself for an hour. So I think what I might do is take apart these switches and maybe see if I can get them to feel good, because I don't really like the way they feel right now. But if I could get them to feel good, then I might put them in a keyboard and not just have them sitting in this Tupperware forever, which is the goal, right? We don't want to just have stuff just to have stuff. We want to actually use it and enjoy it. So I'm thinking about that. Honestly though, I'm super thirsty, so I'm gonna go grab a drink and my water bottle, and I will be right back. All right. So got some paper towels. Probably gonna need that. Drink. Water bottle. Much better. Okay. Man, I would love to like be able to listen to a podcast or something else. But I don't want to get copyright striked or anything. So we're just going to go with the copyright free music for now. Ugh. What do we got going on? It's okay. Not bad. I definitely wouldn't say it's like the greatest music I've ever listened to. But it's free to use. You can stream it on Spotify. It's pretty cool. Been around for a while, I guess. Alright, paper towels. Start with one switch. And I got this guy. Truly budget when you don't have a switch opener. But it's getting a little bit bright in here. Probably close the blinds a little bit. It's pretty sunny here. I don't know where you guys are from, but in the daytime here, the sun is just like a deadly laser. Any Bro Wirtz fans out there? You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's try and get this switch open here. And I definitely don't want to do this for 100 switches. So probably have to at some point just get a switch opener. Got my little lube box here. My little cute little station. I really don't need one of these, but it wasn't that expensive. and I know some people prefer to just go for it. Personally, not my thing. Like, you could tell I'm very like meticulous. I have to have everything planned out. I wish I had a bigger desk mat so I could cover up the parts of my desk over here that are showing, but you know, you can't always get what you want in life. My little squishy finger rest brush here. I do have some Crytox, but I don't have any experience using Crytox. Usually I just use Super Lube, which I know isn't a popular option for lubing switches, but I like the fact that it's a thinner lube. I think that it works pretty good. I have some stock switches that came with my RX 61, and I used Super Lube to lube those, and they came out great. Like, man, that keyboard turned out way better than I could have even imagined it would turn out. And this keyboard in front of me is just stock, but I have it out because the Royal Plunge 61 doesn't have these keys, and I really wanted the delete key I ended up using, and I didn't want to have to go function backspace and deal with all that. So I have cats, so if you see like any little hairs on here, feel free to let me know, and then I'll grab them. Now, this music's a little bit loud for me. I think I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Let me know if the music's too loud for you guys too or not. Just kind of want it there for some background. So one thing I definitely don't want is I don't want there to be any lube on the little actuator here. So these switches are really interesting. So you look in here, you just see this little bump, and there's no, like, you don't, where's the leaf? Oh. Well, actually, if you pull the switch apart again, you can see there's a little separate housing for the leaf. Man, I wish this camera had better focus, but it doesn't, so you have to bear with me here while we wait for it to focus. Come on, buddy. Still focused on the keyboard. Even my camera loves keyboards. There we go. Okay, so you can see there's this little nub right here. And that nub, oh, this little nub is what actually actuates. It actually activates the switch. So there's, looks like there's factory lube inside of the leaf housing, and maybe in shipping, or maybe it's just like a sloppy factory lube job, you know. It's gotten lube on the actual I don't know what to call this thing, peg, this little rubber piece right here, and that's also the part that makes the switch feel tactile, because it comes into contact with this part of the stem leg. So this is the stem, and then here's a side profile of that piece of the leg. So that little bump right there sits in that area, which means it'll probably be stronger and more pronounced if we clean off the lube that's in there, which this is like a lot of work for tactile switches. I really wish they came dry. I would much prefer to apply my own lube and buy dry switches than have to clean off the lube from inside the switch and then go back, because this is going to take me who knows how long. And it's like impossible to get it all off unless you like take it all the way apart and like wash it with soap. Pretty sure lube is like not water soluble, so you'd have to actually wash these. And if you did want to do that and remove factory lube from all of your switches, what I would suggest doing is to get a little, they have these little containers and they're like a mesh, like a plastic mesh container. And I would probably just take it all apart, test it first, get one, put it in there, throw it in the dishwasher, and see how it comes out. That's probably a terrible idea, but that's why I said test it first. You can't blame me if you ruin your switches putting them in the dishwasher. Just a theory. A switch theory. Anyway, I actually really need suggestions for switches because I want to build a nice keyboard. Right now I just have these two budget keyboards, and the Acco comes really nice stock. So if you don't want to have to do anything to your keyboard and you just want to get a stock budget mechanical, that's going to be way better than any of the other stock keyboards that I've seen. Get this one, the Acco 3068B, definitely. But if you want to like mod and you want to like have some fun with it, you want like a layout that feels different, you know, you want people to be like, oh my gosh, your keyboard's so cute, it's so tiny, then don't get a 40%, but get the RK61. Okay, so to clean this off as best we can, we're just going to get some of our lube, as little lube as possible, and we're going to lube. I have a jeweler's tool. Maybe I should use that. It might make things easier. Definitely. Okay, especially I want to show you guys what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to get the... Alright, come on, bro. Focus. Close. There we go. Okay, I just want to get the... It instantly goes out of focus. Okay. Here's what we'll do. Hold the switch in a different way. Hey, we're figuring this out. Okay, so you just want to lube, a little bit of lube on each of these contact points. We're not going to lube this side, but we are going to lube this side. And then we're just going to go around and make sure it's evenly spread out on all the different faces. That make contact. We're getting careful not to get any lube on this leg right here, because this is the leg that is going to give us the tactile feel. If we put lube on this, it will feel mushy. It'll feel like a really bad linear. That's how I would describe it. If you took a linear and scuffed it up, that's how it would feel. Okay, and then we're just going to set that aside. And see, there's lube in here, but it's like really thick, pasty lube. And I don't know like what kind of grease they used. But it's super thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna leave that around the bottom because for the bottom and the springs, it's okay if your spring is over lubed. So what's the best way to do this? What I'm gonna do is wow, if I could get the camera to focus. I'm just gonna lube the spring around where the spring is coiled up a lot. I'm not gonna bother trying to lube the whole spring because I just want to reduce any spring ping as much as possible, and this lube is a lot thinner. And this camera doesn't have very much focusing ability. I don't know, what do you call that? If you're a photographer, let me know. What would you call a camera's ability to adapt its autofocus? Sure, there's like different kinds of autofocus. There you go. Okay. I'm just going to make sure we put our switch in the right way. Remember, this little brown bump interacts with this little point of contact. And then I'm just going to hold it down. And we can get this first try. Yeah. Switches are a little bit annoying to put back together. Okay. I don't know. Does it feel better? Does it feel worse? Got a whole box of it's unlubed. Lubed. It's definitely smoother. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like these switches very much. But you can try them out. I'm wondering if I should put some lube on the stem, because the whole box is making contact with the top housing. So maybe I should lube the top housing too. If you look, there's these little contact points inside. How do you get a good view on this? There's these little contact points. There you go. These little points right here is what's actually touching the stem. The stem makes contact with the top housing, and that there's two little bumps on pretty much every side. So they're like right here on the edge. Okay, they're on the edge here and here on these two sides, and on the north and south sides they're more towards the center. It's still kind of wobbly. I don't know if you guys can see how much this is wobbling. But like, it's definitely producing noise. That's part of why these are so loud. All right. Let's do it. Let's take it apart again and see. What we can do. Kind of like the idea of just making it work however you can make it work. Don't want to lose that. Okay, I'm gonna put this guy right here. That way it doesn't fall apart. So the slides on the inside of the top housing also make contact with the switch, with the stem. So that's right here and on the other side. And we're just gonna lube just enough, just a tiny amount on the slide. And then we're also gonna lube, so you can see in here the way the switch is constructed. The top housing has those little bumps. Yeah. Camera, we're gonna get it. Okay. It has those little bumps here and here, and that runs all the way up. You can see them really good right here. It runs all the way up. The two walls of the stem, so it goes all the way up. So there's actually a lot of contact there. So we're just gonna get a little bit. I like to use the like residual lube right here when you don't get too much. I'm just gonna make a couple passes. On those points where the switch is going to make, the stem's going to make contact with the top housing. That way it'll hopefully be a little bit smoother, and then this goes on this way. You guys have to forgive me if I'm doing stuff off camera. Really not used to doing this stuff on camera. And does that feel better? That's the cool part about this too. You can kind of just plop your switches in. You can just like throw a keycap on here and see what happens. Technically the switches go this way. It's gonna sound way different because this key's in a keyboard. It's definitely more tactile. And the switches I have on this keyboard, which are Echo Jelly Blue switches. Yeah, no, I don't know. I can't decide if I like them or not, honestly. But I definitely want to lube them. Or at least try and improve them a little bit. Honestly, it feels almost kind of similar. I know I put I did one the other day, and I put a switch film in it. Theoretically, it wouldn't be too hard to find him, because he should be since the top housing is clear, shouldn't be too hard to see. There he is. Alright, make sure these are all straight before I try and plop them into the keyboard. So this one, just jammed a switch film in there. I'm pretty sure that these are MX style switch films. So I don't know that they would work. They're supposed to fit and kill switches, but put one in there. We certainly did. So there's that one, the stock one, and the one we just did. Anybody let me know if there's a good way to reduce stem wobble. Since it actually actuates and you don't want to create more friction, it's a really hard problem to solve. Because you can't just like slap a piece of tape in there. I mean, you probably could, but you might be just doing more harm than good if you did that. I do know that this housing is like really, really tight now. There's no play in the housing. The housing is already pretty tight, but there's like a tiny bit. This just like really cements it. I don't know. You tell me. Better, worse? Man, if you wanted to do like your own build, you wanted to build a custom case, and you needed like a plate, I'm gonna do everything like DIY style, you can get one of these, I'm sure, and then you could just wire your switches to whatever you wanted. But I know pretty much nothing about the PCBs of keyboards. Really only know a very little bit about the general way that things work. As far as the electrical engineering or the computer engineering, computer science that goes into it, I've got no clue. So there's that. The other option, the other thing we could do is, I guess we could take the switches out of this keyboard and we could lube these switches. I mean, we could at least just take one apart for fun, right? So let's do like V and B are like the keys that get me the most. I don't know why, but just that bottom row, man, it's tough for me. Okay, these are MX style switches, so I actually do have a switch opener for these. So this would be way more feasible than trying to do the box royals. So these actually have a 2-stage spring, and then your typical, oh, got him, your typical legs. And then let me know. Do you guys like box switches? Are box switches supposed to be good? This is like your typical tactile where the tactility comes from this switch leg. Man, where's like the focusing zone on this keyboard? Mic, not mic, not a keyboard, not a mic. You know what I mean? That thing, the computer peripheral. This webcam. Okay, so this leg interacts with the stem here, or not the stem, the leg of the stem interacts with the leaf of the switch, and that little bump, that friction, is what makes it feel tactile. And the whole switch just popped out on me. That's okay, because we didn't lose anything. And honestly, I can't really tell if these have been lubed at all. They don't feel particularly oily, so it's definitely possible that these have not been lubed. And you wouldn't want to lube the leg of the stem, because, or the switch leaf that the stem makes contact with. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, it's definitely both feet make contact, but one leg of the switch are they the same? They're about, yeah, they're the same length. So I was gonna say one leg of the switch is longer, but both of these pieces of the leg make contact with the leaf. So these two stem legs man. This camera hates me. Oh, there we go. So both of these legs make contact with the leaf directly. So you wouldn't want to lube either of them. I don't know, it doesn't look like there's any lube. On the slides, which is where you'd most expect to see lube, because that's the part of the switch that makes the most contact with anything else, is these slides. So let's go ahead and throw some lube in here and see what happens. This is going to add like a very minimal amount of just being extra careful not to get any lube on the leaf, because well, you'd want to do that for linears, you don't for tactiles. Unless you're trying to make your switch less tactile, in which case you should have probably just bought linear switches. Okay, my switch fell right through the bottom of my little board here. And then we're going to get a good amount on the spring here. Then we're going to put some lube on the middle point of the spring. I have no idea what the point of a two-stage spring is. But let me know if you do. Does it make a difference? Does it make a difference in the feel, or is it just to get a more accurate pressure? Like, is it easier to get, 63.5 grams of force to actuate if you do two-stage spring, or is it just less spring ping? I have no idea. But I do know that it looks cool. Stuff that looks cool is fine by me. And we're just gonna cheat a little bit for the stem. I'm gonna stay away from those legs. I'm gonna do like all the rest of the stem though. The back face of the stem. Ooh, this is tough. The spring is extra long, so it's kind of wobbly. There we go. This part of the housing, or the contact. Okay. And then see if we could figure out which part of the top housing makes contact. We'll try it out first. If you wanted to lube the top housing, I would just check which parts of the switch are actually making contact with it, and just try to lube only those spots. See, this one has, I think, less stem wobble. For sure, north and south, which is like the important part, because you're usually putting pressure in that direction. Doesn't feel any less tactile. Right, our favorite key. What do you guys think? It's interesting. I used to think that the sound that a keyboard makes comes from the keycap hitting the plate, but I don't think that the keycap ever makes contact with the plate. It's just the switch bottoming out, which means you could probably drastically alter the sound of your keyboard if you mess with the switch. So, to be totally honest with you guys, I really don't feel like doing this whole keyboard right now. So maybe just keep messing around with these switches. and see if we can come up with any jank mods. Jank mods are best mods, if you ask me. So, this switch hits the bottom of the housing. The stem hits the bottom of the housing. Oh, come on. The stem, the purple, the stem hits the bottom of the housing, and that's what's making noise. So, theoretically, if we do something to dampen the bottom of the housing, then we could mute the sound of the switch. But the question is how to do that in a good way, or at least in a way that's not going to break your switch, right? Because that's all that you'll really should care about. Unless you don't have keycaps on your board. Or I guess if you could see the keycaps. If you have a low profile case and your plate sits pretty high, or even like above your case or flush with your case, then you might want to consider aesthetics. But I really don't care for that. Prefer my switches to be like shrouded in mystery, and all of my switches are mystery switches. First idea is just to like take a little bit of toilet paper, paper towel, don't worry, clean, I promise, and just see if putting like a little piece of paper towel in here is going to dampen the switch by a lot, or a little, or not at all. Or if it'll fuck up the switch. You guys can all press F in the chat if this fucks up the switch. But honestly, I don't think it will. I think it's going to be fine. I just think it's not going to work. Like, one, either the switch won't function with this little piece of paper towel in it, or two, it won't really help at all. See, now you're just hearing like the clack. There's like no sound from the bottoming out. You're just hearing the clack of the stem wobble. See how muted that is? It still has all the tactility because the tactility is coming from the leg of the stem. You haven't done anything to the leg of the stem. Let's see how it sounds in a keyboard. Okay. I don't know, guys. Okay. This is the normal switch. And these are two different switches, keep that in mind. They do sound pretty similar. This is the jelly blue. And then the box royals would be this one. Well, it definitely sounds less clacky. But is it worth it? For that little of a difference? I don't think so. You could test two of the same switch next to each other. And see if maybe it's just the different switches making different noises. But who knows? Okay. So that's stock. And then regular, or not regular. Fucking toilet paper mod. It's definitely muting. It's definitely muting it a little bit, but it's so minuscule of a difference that you could probably give this keyboard. You give someone a keyboard with all switches done in one way and another keyboard with all switches done in another way, and I guarantee you they wouldn't even notice a difference. Unless they're like super into keyboards, then maybe. But whatever. So that's that. Not really anything exciting that we could do with those today. These blue switches are pretty cool. Okay. Well, what else could we do? To be totally honest, I have no idea how to do a screen capture with this streaming software. I literally just downloaded it a couple minutes ago. So, oh man, I feel like this is a song that everybody's heard before. You ever have those songs where you're just like, man, this is definitely a scam. just because of the music that's in the video. I've definitely felt like that before. Okay. Man. It's the same to just leave all this lube out. And not use it. So might come back to the idea of lubing switches, but not these, because I don't have a switch opener for them. So if I try to use this one, it won't work. And then I'm not going to spend all day prying those open with my hands. Let's clean up our space a little bit here. Getting a little bit hectic. Just clean off my lube brush a little bit. I don't know. Yo. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Is that the music? Could be. I have no idea what I'm listening to. You guys have two keyboards? Basically just took apart a bunch of switches and looked inside of them to see what's in there, how they work. Pretty cool. But I don't have a switch opener for these, so I'm not going to lube all of them. We just did a couple. We did a couple of the switches that are in here. And then have another keyboard too. And this keyboard actually is modded. This one's just stock. The stock switches and stuff that came with it. It's actually not bad. Stock. It's way better than like any keyboard that you're gonna get with your PC. Probably better than anything you could just get like at Walmart. But you could buy this on Amazon. This one is it's a lot heavier. Oh, they're about the same weight. This one's heavier for its size. I think it has worse switches and it comes with worse keycaps and worse stabilizers. Like everything about this stock is worse. But if you're gonna mod it, then this keyboard is way better to mod as a budget, because you could get this one for $55 and you could get this one for like $80. If you get the $80 one, it's pretty great as is. I would just suggest that you for sure get linears if you don't know what you want. If you don't know for sure that you like clicky or you like tactile, then just get linears. And same for this one. Basically, linears, best switch. But I really like the feel of tactiles. I have tactiles in this one. I just think I haven't found the right tactile switch yet. Anyway. That's pretty much all the budget gear that I've got. Could definitely do like a budget build at some point, but I've already done everything to this keyboard that we can. I could put switch films in here, but I don't think it would make that much of a difference because there's not really a lot of wobble in the switch housings, and they already feel really good with just basic lube job. So I think what we might do is just hang out and type. Let's see. Definitely minimize this chat box. Put it somewhere where it's not going to be as intrusive. Like over here. And then let's see. Not used this software before, so I'm not even sure. How to get it to work. So, game capture, screen capture, add source, capture entire screen. I don't have my stream key or anything on here, so not a big deal. Done. Yeah. So, there we go. Do a quick check, make sure everything's working. That looks good to me. And you just came in and left. you go. Good old monkey type. You have to forgive me for not being that great at typing. I think it's probably been a month since I started learning touch typing, and it definitely takes a lot more concentration to do these harder words. That's usually why I like it, because I feel like I'm more aware of the keys that I'm about to push. It forces me to slow down when I don't know how to spell the word. But it's a lot harder to like talk and type than you would think. Your brain's like trying to take in information and output at the same time. So a lot harder to do. So I think I'm going to switch to easy mode. Try English 1K. And then it'll be a lot easier for me to type and talk at the same time. And don't be afraid to say something if you're in chat, because I think we all kind of need someone to talk to every now and then. I like the idea of having like a smaller stream where I can kind of pay more attention to chat, like get to know, you know, a couple subs really well. But I like this keyboard a lot. I think the biggest thing that draws people to this keyboard, just like the general masses, is the fact that it has really good RGB for a budget keyboard. And if you want like really awesome looking RGB, then this is the keyboard for you. If you're looking for a keyboard that has pretty good RGB, but you care about feel more, then definitely the Acco is a way better option. And if you want to mod your keyboard and spend like a budget, you want to do a budget, mechanical and mod. If you want to mod your keyboard and stick to a budget, then you definitely want to do let's move this one down, and then we can adjust our webcam. and our frame. To fit. Now we've got a little extra something going on than just a blank screen here. Then I can just use my phone to look at chat. But yeah, I think the idea of having a smaller audience is pretty cool. I think that a lot of the reason people watch streams is just because they're lonely, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody experiences those emotions. But I don't think that you can, if you're craving, you know, some sort of human interaction, I think that there's nothing wrong with popping into Twitch and just trying to like hang out with someone. But I feel like it's really hard for creators to handle the amount of people that they have. I think that's why a lot of people will, like, when they're doing something and they're hanging out, they'll put a Twitch stream in the background. And they won't even really, like, interact with chat. They just kind of, like, hang out and listen to other people interacting. And I think that if you're more introverted, that's probably more attractive to you anyway. Because you don't really want to have the anxiety of sharing your message with an entire chat room. It's just better to like know that there are other people who are kind of like into the same thing that you're into. Man, that word really got me. Anyway, it's probably not like really ideal to stream before you have any sort of an audience on YouTube or on whatever other source of social media you have. But that's okay. Just kind of like thought it would be fun to share my hobby, or a hobby that I've adopted recently. anyway. Probably just hang out for a while. Do some typing. And end the stream in a bit. I think it's interesting how everything in the keyboard, like the custom mechanical keyboard hobby, is super preferential. You can customize it as much as you want. It's like any other hobby, right? You could pretty much, if you're into like fishing, you like customize, you could buy like a custom fishing rod and like build your own fishing rods. I really enjoy fishing, but I don't have a custom fishing rod. Because I think that's like a hobby on its own, right? Like, it's like 3D printing. Like, if you want to 3D print just for 3D printing's sake, then it's probably a good hobby for you. If you just like see something cool and you think, oh, I want to be able to like 3D print that one thing and just have it right away, then it's probably not for you. I think a lot of hobbies are like that. But pretty much everything is like goes as deep as you want to take it, right? No, that was a bad one. I'm gonna slow down here a little bit. Just trying to focus on my accuracy. For some reason I get D and S mixed up a lot. It's probably because I at one point started typing too quickly. I never like cemented the difference in my mind. Anyway, I have no idea what you guys typed in the chat, but I'm sure it's probably something inappropriate. Yeah. I haven't looked at my stats in a while. Let's see. I got my camera placed right in front of where all the little buttons are. Let's see. time. I've done no time tests apparently. On one. So usually do 25 word tests. I don't know if that's what people normally do, but this is a lot more information than you expect to get. This is what I really want. I just want to know average. Highest word per minute, 10 words. That makes a lot of sense. Average is 27. Last 10 is 31. So last average accuracy, 95. That's like barely acceptable. I would like to be like at 98% accuracy if possible. But when you gamify it, it's almost like you add that value, like words per minute, and you're trying, it doesn't matter, you're always trying to hit a certain number of words per minute. Even if you like tell yourself you're gonna slow down, you come to like a word that you've typed 100 times and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna mash this word out real quick because I know it. And then you'll just like slowly start going faster and faster, and then eventually you make an error. Like for me, that happens on D and S. Sometimes it'll happen on G and F. Or if I have to switch between my left and my right hand too many times to type the word, then I start to lose track. Sometimes I'll type like I instead of E or E instead of I. See, now I'm getting 27% speed and 99% accuracy. So if I get a higher word per minute, but my accuracy goes down, then it just means I'm mashing harder. And I'm also pressing way more keys per minute than I would be if I was just slowing down. And making sure that I'm hitting the right keys. Because if you hit the wrong key, if I hit M here on accident, and I hit space, then I have to hit backspace twice. Then I have to hit N again, and then I have to hit space again. So it's like on that one error, you're gonna hit like 2 extra keys. It's like for every error you make, you have to press the key that makes the error. And if it's at the end of the word, you're gonna hit space, and then you have to hit backspace twice, and then you have to hit the right key again. So it's like, instead of hitting it the right key and space, you're hitting wrong key, space, back, right key, space, 6 keys instead of 2 keys, which means you're tripling the amount of keys that you're pressing. So every error is going to add 4 keystrokes. Let's say 3 keystrokes. We could say 2.5 keystrokes on average, right? Every error you make is going to add 2.5 keystrokes. Is 150% more keystrokes for every error you make. The math's not right on that. I'm not a mathematician. But if you did the math, you looked at how many keystrokes you may have to if you look at how many keystrokes you have to make when you're at 90% accuracy versus how many keystrokes you have to make when you're at 10% accuracy, I guarantee you the difference is huge. Like, just the difference in not making mistakes is probably gonna increase your words per minute by a lot. They know when I make a lot of mistakes, my word per minute is always really low. And if I'm not making any mistakes, then it's usually at least decent for myself. And that's how you should be measuring your progress. You shouldn't ever be measuring yourself against other people, because you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. It is starting to get warm in my room. Turn the AC off so that want to create a lot of background noise. That was not great. Which means I need to slow down even more. Generally, I know like which keys I need to be more careful with, because I tend to make more mistakes when it comes to certain keys. Or if I see like an easy combination, like OU, sometimes I go for that combination too early. See, I felt like I was typing a lot slower that time, but I got almost 30 words per minute and my accuracy was way higher. So honestly, just slow down. And originally when I was first learning all the keys, I went from, looking down at my keyboard and using like 3 or 4 fingers in total and just like mashing it out to like 15 words per minute, 10 words per minute. And man, that was like a real wake-up call, because I honestly thought I was really good at typing and I was like a fast typer, and that like everybody looked at the keyboard while they were typing. But I don't think that's true. All right. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.